Welcome back. It's March 17th, 2020, and this is day 2 of my Canadian coronavirus quarantine diary. I'm keeping track of what's going on here in my little part of Canada. I'm in the interior of British Columbia, near the Pacific coast, just a few hours drive inland from Vancouver, where I used to live. I'm in a smaller town now. I rent a small house, and this sort of a vlog or blog series is going to be about, specifically it's not about fear. I was accused of that yesterday, saying, someone said, this is just going to make people more scared, and that's actually what I'm trying not to do. I'm trying to actually be calm and show that all of us can be calm through this, and it is going to be stressful, but fear and giving into fear is not the way to go. I mean, fear is a natural response to scary things, and there are scary things, but courage is the ability to overcome fear, and that's what we have to have, is courage. So you can have fear and courage at the same time, and I'm trying to show that to people. So, it is scary, true, but that's not the end of the story. It's also a way that we can use courage to overcome that and to shine in a time that is looking to be pretty bleak. So, moving on from there, as I said, this is day 2, and I will be keeping track of what's going on. It's sort of a more personal experience, and I'll put some up on the screen, just some things related to this, just something to look at while I'm talking, but other videos will be more video focused, showing what I'm doing around the house and yard, and but this is just going to be my voice today, so each video will be a little bit different. And a little bit of news here from BC. We have now 4 confirmed deaths. I suspect it's a little bit more than that, but the testing is a bit of an issue here. They're only testing people here if they died and had all the known symptoms of the illness, and there's no other known cause, then they'll check for that. So some of the deaths are being correctly attributed. So there's probably a bit more than 4, but people have said, oh, there's more deaths from, say, the flu or other illnesses every year, and that is true, but we are at the beginning of the outbreak, and we have to understand exponential growth, which is something very hard for humans to understand, and I am a math major, and I still had a ton of problem understanding exponential growth. It's not intuitive to humans. The classic example is if it takes 100 days to fill a stadium with water, adding twice as much as you added the day before, starting on day 1 with 1 drop, and day 2 is 2 drops, and day 3 is 4 drops, and day 4 is 8 drops, and so on. How full is this stadium on day 99? And the answer is it's half full. What? That's exponential growth for you. So after almost the entire 100 days, there's still just a little puddle of water in the stadium. And then on day 99, it's half full, and then on day 100 it's completely full. And then you can imagine how much overfilled it goes from there, and that's kind of how viruses sometimes can grow. And in this case it is growing exponentially because we're not socially isolating. And that is something big that you're hearing in the mainstream media and from all sources, is social isolating, and that is talking about proper hygiene, proper, covering your coughs, not kissing, not hugging right now at all, not touching people, not touching your own face when you're out in public, or touching any doorknobs or anything dirty, and just really keeping, because the virus lives inside humans. It lives for a short time outside of humans, but it can't replicate there. It has to be inside humans to live and to replicate and to carry on its duties of being a virus. So it needs us. So if we separate ourselves, we can separate that contagion and stop that from happening. And yes, that is going to be a complete collapse of the economy. There's no question about that. That's baked into the cake now. And the economy was already set to collapse, what a lot of people don't realize. It's something that I've been following for a long time and blogging about incessantly. This was happening no matter what. And the virus is the excuse. Okay? But that doesn't mean it's not real. It is real. A lot of people are saying, is the virus a complete hoax? And it is not. Maybe I thought that up for a few minutes at the first, when I first saw that footage from China and stuff, I thought, wait a second, I've seen fake shit like this before. But it wasn't very long, as a nurse myself, and I I keep up on medicine. I'm not working right now as a nurse, but I keep up on medicine and research and even virology. I know a little bit about it, as a layman anyway. And I'm not claiming to be an expert on it, but my opinion is that it is something that's really happening. Italy now is completely overrun. You just have to look at people's stories from Italy, just regular people, not the mainstream media, but people's blogs and stuff like that. They're hurting there. The hospitals are overrun there completely. They're turning away people that are dying of heart attacks because there's no machines for them, no beds, no doctors. They're all working. I feel for them. As a nurse, I've had some hard shifts, but I bet you every shift is worse than any of my worst shifts ever. And I'm just, I'm really sad about what's going on there. And it is true. It is real. It is really happening. So we can stop pretending that the virus is fake. Whether the virus is natural or not is another question altogether. Let's not get into that here and now. But the people are sick, okay? People are sick. And it is spreading. And we are in the West, like in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the United States, and to some degree the UK, but not so much anymore, because Europe itself is completely engulfed. I'm talking about these places as being not so bad right now, but they're not so bad right now, relatively. But 4 people dying is serious, and when that's, ramping up, it was 1 a couple weeks ago, then it was 2 last week, and now it's 4, and right? Is it going to be 8 next week, and then 16, and then 64, and so on? Exponential growth, unless they're social isolating. So, I don't like to parrot what the mainstream says and what, the government is saying and so on. That's not my thing at all. In fact, okay, let's not go there either. But I'm here to say that social isolating is something we do need to do right now. Right now. Not to panic, but just to put that into effect in our own lives, and because the government is going to put that into effect in our lives whether we do or not. So voluntarily is probably the best way, because they are going to enforce it. They are already enforcing it in Italy with violence, with prison terms, okay? So in China, they're following people with drones. Like, everyone gets a little personal drone that follows you home if you're out. You get a drone that just hovers above you and takes pictures of you and video and facial recognition and sends it, through Wi-Fi and 5G or whatever to the police and stuff like that. Literally, it sounds Orwellian and paranoid, but no, that's what they actually are doing there, and it's a model for what is planned everywhere else. They're only a few years ahead in that realm right now. So, just it is going to be a crackdown, and it is going to be a different world. But a lot of us are aware of that, and a lot of us are ready for it in a way. I've been mentally prepared for this for a long time. As I said in my video last time, I'm not physically prepared right now. I just had a baby. 3 years ago I came down with a chronic illness. I don't have a proper diagnosis yet for everything that's wrong with me. The medical care system here is crap, and I've had to just take care of myself. And I've got whatever it is, it's in a little bit of remission the last while, but stress is absolutely an amplifier of it. They say stress is a killer. That's because it brings out illnesses that are sort of in remission or latent. And, unsupported and unmedicated here, I'm running out of my medicine, which is cannabis. I'm running out of that. I use extracts and edible forms to stay healthy and not have to be on SSRIs and Effexor and stuff like that I was on from the system that was absolutely destroying me for 2 years. Saved my life, but I have to be off that now. I can put a link down below about how cannabis saved my life and helped me get off Effexor without... there are dangerous side effects of withdrawing from those. It's not just hard to withdraw from those medicines, it's dangerous. And a lot of people are going to be going through that now, because they're not going to have access to medicines, because there's going to be a bit of a breakdown, and I'm sorry to hear, that this is going to be happening, but it is. There is going to be a bit of a breakdown in some things, in some supply chains, and some people are going to get hurt. And, that's just what's happening. around the world, and we need social distancing to slow that down, to slow the spread down. Because let's talk about the illness itself. It is not as bad as a lot of reports have said in terms of how deadly it is for most people. A lot of people will just get mild symptoms, and then a few people will get a bit of a mild pneumonia. And I've fought off some pretty bad pneumonias myself with no antibiotics, no antivirals, no help of any kind from the healthcare system, no oxygen, whatever. And I was like half dead, but I decided to do it at home because, I'll go into that another time. But you can fight off pneumonia, you can. And a lot of people are going to have to do that. They're going to have to fight off pneumonia at home without oxygen, without support, without medicine. And, we will all have to become a little bit of nurses to take care of ourselves, a little bit of doctors, basically shamans. We're going to have to be taking care of our own health for a little while. A lot of us are. So let's just be real about that. And we can do that if the internet stays up, especially. But you can even do that if the internet goes down. Don't panic if the internet goes down. You can take care of yourself, and you can take care of your health. You know how to take care of a bad cold. This is like a bad cold. Treat it that way if it hits you, if it hits your family members. And isolate, and wash hands, and wash surfaces, and wash, anything that's used by that patient. And you can get through this. We can. We will. Most of us will. Let's be real, because it is somewhat deadly. Yes, it is. It's virulent. It's very virulent. That is the main thing of this. It has been maybe created to be, or just by accident, I don't know, but it is very, very virulent. It's going to spread to almost everybody. Maybe 75% of the population. About a quarter of people are going to be immune to this, naturally, because coronaviruses have been around for a long time. This is a different kind of coronavirus, but it has many similar markers, and the body will recognize it in some cases. So some people, they say about 25%, maybe about 1 in 4 will not get this when they're exposed to it. But don't count on that. Anyway, a lot of us will get it, but that doesn't mean that a lot of us will die from it, because it's not as bad with proper care, as they say. It's not as bad as they say, with proper care. And a lot of us are going to have to manage it at home, because only the most sick patients are going to be able to go to hospital. And that's why we're talking about slowing it down with social isolation. To slow down, they call it flatten the curve. Don't get everybody to get sick all at once, because the healthcare system is not able to do it. Not even with tent hospitals and everything. It can't. The numbers aren't there for this. We'll talk about the numbers in another video, but the numbers are not there to support it like it happened in China. And they had to lose a lot of people and go into some very, very draconian lockdowns. And that caused a lot of deaths as well, too. So we're trying to make that not happen. We're trying to have to soften it out a little bit here, as it, we've been lucky to not be the first to be hit. So as it comes to the rest of the world, we need to be socially isolating and taking care of ourselves at home and doing the best we can to slow it down, flatten the curve. And what that means is that the healthcare system will be able to handle most cases, not all cases probably, but most, as we don't get everybody infected at once and kind of break it down and get people infected over the course of maybe a year or even longer if we can. So if you haven't had it yet, maybe don't get it. And I was going to talk about my own symptoms and my family's possible symptoms and stuff today, but I think I'm going to skip that for now. I'll just say that I am feeling fairly well. Ironically, you may have heard that as I took a deep breath, and yeah, my lungs are a little bit gunky for some reason, and I'm not sure why that is. I don't smoke. It's not, the cannabis I use is oral or vaporized, so my lungs are very nice and clean, and I've never had problems with them for years, but all of a sudden this past few weeks. But we will see. I'm taking care of it, and I am making sure not to spread to other people. We'll talk about that more on another video. In Ontario, there's a state of emergency now. Here in BC, they've closed all the schools. Businesses are shutting down. I'm really worried about dispensaries shutting down before I get any more cash in hand to be able to try it and see if there's anything left to get, because I'm growing my own small amounts, but it's very, very, very small amounts. It's enough for a few days of medicating not a few months, which is how long it takes to grow another crop. So I need vastly more than is able to be produced in the way that I produce it here. So we'll have to see how that goes over the next little while. Yeah, state of emergency in a lot of provinces, including Ontario. I don't think BC has announced that state of emergency yet, but our cases are growing, and yeah, especially in Vancouver, there's a lot of people sick, and in some ways I'm happy to be out of there, because it's going to be the city centers and stuff are going to be hit pretty hard, pretty fast, I think, in the world, in most major cities. So here at the house, I kind of have a no visitor policy now. Have family members that sometimes come around, or friends or whatever, but we now are going to be just whatever, extra careful just in the first little while. Don't want to spread it. You know, people say it's not that bad, you're probably not going to die from it. It's like, I know that, we all know that. We're trying not to spread it too quickly, though. That's different. We're not fear about the virus itself. Yes, we know it's not killing everybody that gets. It's not like a zombie plague or something. Well, it is dangerous, but we're not saying we're not saying it's the Black Plague or something. We'll see about that, but we're just not spreading it quickly, and that's important right now. So, I'm sorry to everybody that's affected by this. There is a lot of people now, and it will be a lot more. I've been very sick, and I've almost died, so I understand how rough it can be, and I have empathy for people, and I feel that there's a lot of suffering going on right now in the world, and I think maybe all of us feel that, right? Maybe some of us feel that more than others, but it's rotten, and just because it's sad and rotten doesn't mean that we can't be strong, and we will be strong. We are strong. So, yeah, like I said, we're in this together. The whole human race is in this together. It's one of the first things we've done together in a while. So, to me, I was talking to my wife, MediKatie, I was saying it's like a wild card. It is. Whether this happened naturally or some other way, it is like a wild card. We've been presented with a bit of an opportunity. And I think there will be some negatives out of this, but there will be some positives also. And let's just watch for those and maximize them, and watch for those negatives and minimize those as much as we can. And it's all about sharing information, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to document what's happening in my life and putting out my thoughts out there, and I think that's going to reach some people, and I'm enjoying the thoughts I'm getting from other people. So if you have some kind of like personal blog like this about your own quarantine, your own isolation, or your own experience, or whatever that's going on right now, then especially if it has any correlations with mine, I'd really be interested to hear from you. So give me a comment. And thank you very much for sharing the video yesterday. That's great. I know YouTube says it's only 152 views, but I've been heavily shadow banned on my channel for a long time. So I know my views are at least 10 to 20 times higher than the official numbers. So, and I don't worry about numbers anyway. I'm just happy to reach people with this. It's great. What I feel I need coming in from outside, what I feel like my must-have here, if I'm going to go, 6 months or more here at the property, what I would want to be able to have. I'll talk about that next time. And I just wanted to say I will not disappear. So if this stops, it's for some particular reason, like something happened to me, or the internet went out, or the power went out. Those are the three things I can think of. But if I get, ill or something, I'll tell you. I'll say I'm not going to post for a few days or something. So just letting you know, this is a bit of insurance or lifeline for me or whatever. I'm just putting it out there. This will continue. I will not necessarily going to post every day, but if I suddenly are gone a week or two, then yeah, something had happened, obviously. Even a few days probably. I'm going to try and do every maybe second day, or even every day if there's content to post. I'll continue it, and if it's popular, I will continue it. I think it's helping people, and that's all I wanted to talk about for now. Let's leave it there. It's been a day. I'm going to spend the rest of the afternoon raking the yard, taking care of the baby. He's teething right now. He's 6 months old almost. And a really smart, handsome, everyone thinks their baby's awesome, but he's a great awesome, great little baby, but he's teething right now, so he's having a bit of a nap, so I'm recording this, but yeah, we're not getting a lot of sleep. And the construction that I was talking about yesterday is still going on, so at 6:45 every morning the tractors start and they're grading up cement and jackhammering right outside, turning a regular road into a roundabout for no reason. It's just whatever. A make-work project. And it's so paradoxical that when I check the news and stuff, I see that everything is shutting down around the world, and in my little pocket there's still a little bit of activity of people, construction workers getting together and making a useless roundabout for no apparent reason. So I'm not sure how long that's going to go, or if they're going to try and wrap it up and finish it quick. It was supposed to go for months, but I'm not sure what that's going to do, but it's keeping me awake. We get woken up at 6:30 by them outside, and even if the baby's still sleeping, which he usually is, he sleeps well into the morning. He's a good sleeper when that's not happening, but we're not getting our sleep, and that's ramping up, symptoms, and it's ramping up stress level too. So I will try and get a nap if I can in here somewhere, but I will talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks for listening, and share this video if you think that someone else might find it useful. Talk to you soon. Good luck out there, everybody. Stay safe and healthy.